where MAGA comes to talk. My lead story this morning is going to be this emergency landing that Air Force One had to make. And on the way to Switzerland, Air Force One was about an hour out and made a U-turn and came back to Andrews. They landed. The president was transferred to another Air Force One, the smaller Air Force One, and then they went on their merry way to Switzerland on the smaller Air Force One. This was the big Air Force One. They made a U-turn an hour out. And they're saying that it was an electrical issue. I'm not buying that. We just had this mysterious device found along the route of the motorcade from Mar-a-Lago to Air Force One a little more than a week ago, right? Week and a half ago. Katie Pavlich interviewed President Trump on her news show on News Nation, and he was talking to her about orders he's left behind in case Iran does the unthinkable to him. What's going on here? Do you believe that this was truly an electrical problem? Is there a threat? What's going on here? President Trump is resetting the whole world and turning the whole world upside down. Between the tariffs, Greenland, NATO, and there's too many freaky things going on involving the president around Air Force One. And I don't know. Maybe the president should not be leaving the White House. These are really scary times we are in. The people that President Trump is up against are just pure and plain psychotic, evil people. These are terrible, evil people. And when I woke up and I saw this story today, I was like, oh my goodness. Again, another threat involving the Air Force One. This is the third Air Force One threat that we've had in the past few months, right? We've got this one today. And, Air Force One was an hour out of Andrews. They did a dramatic U-turn, came back to Andrews, put the president on another Air Force One. A week and a half ago, we had this incident in Palm Beach where they found a mysterious device on the route to Air Force One from Mar-a-Lago. A few months back, they found that sniper's nest with a clear line of sight to Air Force One at the airport in Palm Beach. There's just something not kosher here. I'm sorry. I'm not buying this minor electrical issue forced Air Force One to make this U-turn and transfer the president to another plane. I'm not buying that. I'm sorry. No. There's too many things going on involving Air Force One to just say, oh, okay. If it wasn't for these other ones, these other instances, I wouldn't think too much about it. It'd be a story. We'd be like, okay, oh, wow, that's crazy. But I don't believe in coincidences. There's been too many stories with the president and Air Force One. And, these people that he's up against and the things that he's doing is turning the world upside down. And they're terrified of Trump. They hate Trump. And it is, to me, absolutely frightening. And I'm sure it's frightening for him. He's the one living through this. Now, I had thought the Air Force One that they had the problem with was the big Air Force One, but I was under the impression that there are two of those planes. So why did they put him on the small Air Force One? Right? There's a small Air Force One that's used for short distances usually here in the United States, and that's the one he flew to Switzerland on. I was under the impression, there's two big Air Force Ones, right? The 757s, there's two of those. At least I thought. But the electrical problem was on the big Air Force One. And I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. An hour out. So I'm wondering, why didn't they put him on the other big Air Force One as opposed to the little Air Force One? Something's not right here. Something is not right here. And I'm not some alarmist clickbait type guy, but we have, in the last, I don't know, well, in the last week and a half, we have two bizarre incidents involving Air Force One, and then we have the sniper's nest a couple months back. So there's too much going on around Air Force One and the president. Just too much. Yeah, if you're just joining, if you've not seen the story, on the way to Switzerland, an hour out of Andrews, Air Force One made a very dramatic U-turn, flew back to Andrews. They took the president off Air Force One, put him on another Air Force One, and then flew him to Switzerland. And they're saying that there was electrical problems on the aircraft. I don't believe it. Do you know what kind of checks a normal plane goes through? Can you imagine the checks that Air Force One goes through? I am not buying it at all. I'm just not. What about you guys? Do you believe it was just an electrical issue, or do you think there was more here with this Air Force One U-turn back to Andrews? An hour out, that's pretty far out. That's a lot of flight time, too. More to it, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the president, when he got off, they asked him about it. He says, I don't know what's going on. I'm just getting on the other plane. There's something more in play here. Something more. It's obvious. Yeah. Well, that's going to be my lead story today. I'm going to go through all the latest updates on it. But these globalists, they've totally lost power. Globalism has failed. What globalism is experiencing is like the fall of the Soviet Union. Globalism replaced the Soviet Union, right? And it's totally collapsed now. Globalism is a failure, just like communism. And what the president's doing with tariffs and NATO and Greenland has them totally freaked. Totally freaked. If it wasn't for these other incidents, it'd be a news story. We would talk about it, but I don't think we'd be so suspicious. But 3 incidents involving Air Force One so close together? Nope. Much more to it. Dylan, I saw Christy Nome did an interview, and she said she's never heard a family saying, I want that rapist or murderer back in my neighborhood. So all you people that say F ICE and all this, think about what you're doing. You're advocating for rapists and murderers to roam free on American streets and American neighborhoods. So think about what you're supporting. Oh, America has plenty of friends, but the globalists are losing power. And NATO is likely to fold over Greenland. And these Europeans, NATO is to Europe what USAID was to the left in this country. NATO is to Europe what the Leering Centers are to the Democrats and Somali pirates of Minnesota. They make so much money and steal so much from NATO. The idea that NATO wouldn't exist is has them in a complete panic. This is all the more reason we need Greenland, because we need to have a complete shield between us and the rest of the world, because the rest of the world's very dangerous, very threatening. Yeah, if you're just joining, an hour out of Andrews, Air Force One made a U-turn, had an emergency landing back at Andrews, and the president was transferred to another Air Force One and then flown to Switzerland. Yep. And they're saying there was an electrical issue, but I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. Greenland is going to be our country soon. It's going to be part of the United States. It basically already is. Just get used to the idea that it's Greenland, USA. It's these are very dangerous people. Yeah, the Qatar Air Force One might be the safest. It's being refitted right now. No, I don't buy that this was just some regular error. I don't buy that at all. And give me a yes or no in the chat. Do you buy the cover story about the Air Force One U-turn, that it was just a minor electrical issue? I'm going to say no. I don't buy it. Nope. Nope. These planes go through so much checks and everything. You know, I mean, they're not nonstop maintenance, nonstop check on a regular commercial jet. This one, This is I'm going to call sabotage. Something very suspicious happened, like that object that they found on the route to Air Force One last weekend, or the weekend before last. There's just too many things are going on with Air Force One just to say, oh, okay. Too many coincidences. This is the third strange event involving the president and Air Force One. Third one. Oh, and by the way, you know, Macron with the sunglasses, do you think his wife gave him a black eye? We saw her roughing him up on the airplane a while back. Hey, Katina. Yeah, for those that are just joining, you know, what I'm talking about is this story today that Air Force One was 1 hour outside of Andrews, made a dramatic U-turn, landed at Andrews. They took the president off, put him on another Air Force One, and then flew him to Switzerland on that. And they're claiming an electrical issue, and I'm not buying it. It scared the crap out of me when I read that. That was the first story I saw. I woke up, I grabbed my phone, looked at the news, first story I saw, and scared the daylights out of me. You know, he has these leftists freaking out. Right? The globalists, the leftists, they're completely freaking out over everything that he's doing. That's not even clever, Rampla. Yeah. So says Canada. Right? Canada sided with the redcoats during the revolution. So, no, these are... We've never had a president that turned the world upside down like this one. This is what President Trump is doing is a massive global reset. Massive global reset of everything at every level. We've never seen anything like what he's doing. If you're new to my channel, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure that you subscribe. Fascists aren't elected with the majority of the population. I'm sorry. don't even know what fascist is. You're just repeating words like a brain-dead parrot. Just parroting things that you've heard others say. You don't even understand the words that you're typing. But, yeah, Canada should support us with Greenland because annexing Greenland is going to make Canada safer too. But they're never going to leave Trump alone. Just never. Never, never, never. You know, and this latest incident with Air Force One, and if you notice, JD has, the vice president has been spending very little time with the president. And JD Vance even made reference to this a week or so ago, that they're keeping their distance for security reasons. So the threat level around them is very high, higher than normal, because of all these things. I mean, these are the ones we know about. Imagine the ones we don't know about. I mean, my goodness. I mean, how many assassination attempts have there been on President Trump that we know of, right? 4, 5? Yeah. Plus they shot him in Butler. Recap. If you're just joining, on the way to Switzerland, an hour after takeoff, Air Force One made a U-turn, flew back to Andrews, Joint Base Andrews, and removed the president from Air Force One, put him on another plane, and flew him to Switzerland on another plane. And they're saying there was an electrical problem on Air Force One. I'm not buying it because this is the third bizarre incident with Air Force One in just the last 3 months. The sniper's nest at the airport with a direct line of sight to Air Force One. A week and a half ago, there was a mysterious object found on the roadway between Mar-a-Lago and the airport, right? There was that, man. Now this. Too many things going on. And you look at everything that President Trump is doing with the tariffs in Greenland and NATO and everything. The globalists are in a panic. So I'll ask you guys, do you believe that this was an electrical problem? Yes or no? Well, let me rephrase the question. Wait, cancel that question. Do you believe that this U-turn of Air Force One is suspicious? Yes or no? Yes or no? No would mean you buy that it's a minor electrical problem. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Pretty much everybody agrees it's suspicious. Very. Yep. Yep. That's going to be my lead story on the main live stream today. That's what I'm going to lead with. Very important story. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, click that notification bell, and I'll be taking your calls on this. When I open up the show, I'll have to go through everything, and I'll go through all the details and the news accounts of what happened. But and then we'll take calls. Making America great again is controversial to people around the world. Now, who's behind this? There's too many people. Ukraine, Iran, who knows? But there's something very suspicious about it. I don't buy this minor electrical problem. I don't. And the president, he said he didn't know what was going on. He looked a little concerned to me. And the other thing, they put him on the small Air Force One, which they don't really use for international travel with the president too much. So I don't know why they didn't put him on the other big Air Force One. Oh, I'm sure they'll try to explain this away, but I'm not buying it. Nope. Nope. Just like they never told us what the mysterious object was on the route to Air Force One here in Florida a week and a half ago. Never told us. I mean, to make a U-turn an hour into the flight on Air Force One, a normal commercial jet goes through round-the-clock checks and maintenance. A plane like this, it's nonstop. Nonstop. Minor electrical issues are found long before the president even leaves, if there's any. You can call in when I'm in the studio. Can't call in while I'm in the car. But on the next stream, I'll be live in the studio, and you can call me on the air, and we'll talk about it. Make sure you guys subscribe. Click that notification bell. No, this is very suspicious. Very suspicious. But like I said, there's too many suspects. Iran and Ukraine are always at the top of the list. But with what's going on with Greenland, I'd have to see a press conference with the mechanics and the pilots detailing the problem to even begin to accept the idea that this was a minor electrical issue. And even then, I'd be suspect. You know, and they have we've got no follow-up on that sniper's nest at the airport. We've got no follow-up on the mysterious object on the road they found on the way to Air Force One from Mar-a-Lago. And this, we're not going to get details beyond what we have this morning, probably. Because they don't, I just wonder, is it the same people that left the mysterious object on the roadway? And they never told us what it was. It could have been something minor. It could have been a Coke can or a cell phone or something. They didn't tell us any of that. The story was just dropped. So the threat level is at a whole new place than we're normally at. Or they would tell us more details about these other incidents, and they wouldn't just go away from the news with no follow-up. But that's how they roll. All right, guys, I'm going to run and get my coffee when I'm in the studio. On the next stream, I will take your calls. This is going to be my lead story today. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I'll see you on the next stream. Thanks for watching.